what's happening for most people, the idea of going to school, getting a job, working hard, saving money, getting out of debt, buying your house because it's an asset, and investing for the long term, is obsolete. The world has changed. The world changed in 1971 when President Nixon took us off the gold standard and money became debt. You know, there's Moore's Law, which states information doubles every 18 months. In other words, everything's obsolete 18 months. When you come out of school, you're already obsolete. Today, the banks are charging you interest to save money. In other words, banks don't want your money because they printed too much of it. And that's why there's these bubbles in stocks and bubbles in real estate and all this. People are dumping the cash. Because as I said in here, savers are losers and cash is trash. And yet people are, well, I want a high-paying job. Well, that's an obsolete idea. Get out of debt is an obsolete idea. You should learn how to get into debt, how to use debt to get rich. The reason the 1% is way up here and the 99% are going this way is because when you print money, two things happen: inflation and taxes. And any entrepreneur thinks, I'm just going to make money and I'm going to start a business and make a lot of money because that's what we talk about. They really have got to smell the roses, man. You know, that's not what the real entrepreneurs are doing. Most entrepreneurs, there's 28 million small business owners in America. 24 million are what are one-person entrepreneurs. They're called non-employee entrepreneurs. So and that's what happens is when people don't really understand what an entrepreneur does. So most big people are self-employed, but they're not really entrepreneurs. The self-employed pay the highest taxes of all. Nobody tells them that. You know, there's the external, you and I, we all have an external economy, but we also have an internal economy. And the willpower is to change our internal economy. So for me, I can see the good and I can see the bad. I don't really give a damn because I'm going to be rich anyway. But a poor person with a poor personal economy, all they're going to see is a bad economy because they don't know how to make money in any economy. And a middle class person, they have a middle class economy. You know, what they want is a nice house, a steady paycheck, and a job and a car. And so when you take their job away, to them that's disaster. Well, since an entrepreneur doesn't have a job anyway, it's no big deal. So all I'm saying to people is what Bucky Fuller taught me, there's always two sides, you know what I mean? So if you think the economy is bad, it's because your economy is bad. If you think that steady, employment is important, then you'll see an economy without jobs.